Alright guys, in today's video, I'm going to go over the 5 core strengths that you need to develop to build your confidence. And also, I'm going to go over how you can structure your day around these 5 strengths. These things are the pillars of competence. And as we know, competence breeds confidence. So my aim with this video is to help you cut out the low ROI distractions that people online might be telling you to do, and instead help you figure out the things in your life you need to add and you need to continue doing in order to become a more well-rounded, confident, successful person who gets what he wants out of life, right? So in no particular order, these strengths are mental strength, physical strength, financial strength, intellectual strength, and your social strength / status. So we'll start with the first one, which is your mental strength. And that's accomplished only by taking action. Simply by doing the hard thing and getting out of your comfort zone, you will build mental strength. The thing with this is, even if you fail, simply trying will condition you to act despite the fear or the excuses that you make for yourself. And mental strength, it's the foundation of success and having a positive mindset and actually enjoying life. Because when things feel too hard, which they often will, whether, it's going through a tough workout or hesitating before, you have to ask out a girl, or, you have to deal with something even worse, like the loss of a parent, or you have to make it something that'll really change your life, like a business decision, you'll trust yourself to take the action that you need to because you've built the habit of doing the hard or the uncomfortable thing, even when you didn't feel ready. And, doing hard things to help build your mental strength is not a new concept. In many civilizations throughout history, young men went through rites of passage, right, to prove themselves. And it was like a way to separate the boys from the men, because as much of a physical demand it was to do the rite of passage, it was also a mental demand. But the thing is, there's a problem today where we don't implement any of this, right? Instead of testing men and forcing them to struggle a little bit, we tell them, avoid discomfort, play it safe, follow all the rules by the book, don't risk anything. And, all of that just results in weak men, right? Men who crumble under pressure, they avoid risk, they stay stagnant, and they're just unhappy with life because they didn't get to do what they wanted to, and, they didn't get to live naturally how they should, right? Even for me personally, growing up, I was always scared of failure and rejection, right? I was raised in a way where I was encouraged to do new things and try new things, but I also had to take extra precaution and always think about what could go wrong, right? And so that, paired with my own mentality, especially as a kid, it would cause me to just overthink, right? I would get into my own head. I'd become frustrated if I wasn't good at something. I'd get a lump in my throat, and instead of continuing to push forward, learning to have that mental strength to just push forward, I'd just give up. I'd go back to what I was already good at, right? Because that was more comfortable for me. It started with simple things like swimming, right? I didn't learn it as a kid, so in my teen years, I would just avoid it. And the only way that I had to develop these skills was much later in my life, when I mentally became tougher by slowly and purposefully putting myself out there, trying things that didn't come naturally to me, and getting out of my comfort zone. Another example that paid massive dividends, and I think that this could be something you are doing right now or you have already accomplished. But for me, it required me to get out of my circle of competence, and that was going to a commercial gym. That was a pretty scary experience as a kid because I was a skinny fat kid. I was probably the weakest person in the gym many times when I went to a commercial gym. But, I put my head down. I said, this is something that needs to be done. I had the mental strength, even though I didn't have the physical strength. And I slowly worked my way to becoming very consistent. And now it's one of the most favorite things I do throughout my whole day. And it's just been such a life-changing thing because I had the mental strength. I had to develop it slowly to do things like that. And, what's nice is once you just keep attempting enough times, you start accomplishing things that you didn't know were possible, right? And then once you accomplish a difficult task, that becomes an experience that you can play back in your mind, during times that you're getting frustrated, right? Sometimes things don't work out, right? Your business isn't growing. You didn't do well on that test. But you can still have a positive outlook that eventually this will work because you have the experience where there was a thing that was, very daunting to you at one point, and you made it something easy and something integratable into your daily life, right? You can think back to times you were in a similar position, but you still made it out because, you have that strength in you. You have that mental strength in you to just keep going and go for what you actually want, right? You have to make sure you implement discomfort like daily in your life. Um, you know, even now, even though I've accomplished many things in my life that I thought I wouldn't, I still make sure to get out of my comfort zone. Like last week, I went skiing, right? Knowing I would eat shit, knowing I probably wouldn't be good at it, especially as like an adult, I would be seeing kids do much better than me, and that's a very humbling experience. But I still left the experience like super proud of myself for even having the balls to try it. You still have to find ways to implement this discomfort into your life daily. This could just be by taking a cold shower. It could be entering a tournament, right? Competing against other people in like a sport, in your hobby, in chess, in a martial art, whatever the case is, find a way to put discomfort into your life, and that'll help you build mental strength. So the next one is physical strength, and I won't spend much time on physical strength since by now you know that lifting weights is key to building a muscular physique. But what I do want to point out is that even if you're not jacked by social media standards, as long as you're seeing improvement in your physique, you are building physical strength, and eventually, that compounds, and you will reach a point of high physical strength, and that itself will build confidence, right? These 5 strengths will build confidence because you're seeing improvement in them, and it's something that's acknowledged by other people. So make sure you're also getting bigger. So that means you also have to figure out the nutrition portion of this by eating enough calories and eating the right amount, the right amount of micronutrients and macronutrients. I have a separate video on that, so I'll put it there if you want to take a look. But this confidence that you get from being more attractive, it doesn't just apply to the gym. These habits will make your face look better. It'll carry over to social situations and dating as well. And, it'll also help with your mental strength, because if you're eating a nutritious diet, you are lifting, you are social with other people, that all boosts your testosterone, which will boost your mental health and your energy level. That's why these 5 strengths, none of them really exist in isolation. They're all interconnected. You just have to find high ROI activities that will accomplish multiple strengths, right? That'll help you improve multiple strengths. So I also mentioned before that looking better and going to the gym will help your social life. And that's the other strength that I want to talk about. Your social strength, right? Or your status. To actually develop your social skills, here I highly recommend reading and applying the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an old book. I think it was made in the 1930s, but it's a gold standard when it comes to building strong relationships, improving your communication skills, and being somebody that people just naturally want to gravitate towards. In fact, later on in the month or the year, I'm going to be making a video myself where I reread each chapter, and I stop at every chapter and apply at least one thing into my daily life, just to show you guys how impactful the book is, because it's also been a while since I read it. I also have a separate guide that you can watch on how to make friends and dating, and it's very good for people that want to meet girls. But going back, it relates very well to the mental strength aspect. By first trying new things and getting out of your comfort zone, you also, as a byproduct, will meet new people, expand your social circle, and become more of an interesting person. The thing is with social skills is a lot of the time some guys just have nothing to talk about, right? But if you actually do interesting things and you get out of your comfort zone, you have, stories to tell, real experiences to share, and unique ideas and places to go. If you want to go for a weekend trip with your boys, or you want to find a good date spot, you kind of have to get out of your comfort zone to experience these things. And the reason why most guys struggle is because they don't do anything that's worth talking about, right? Once you actually do stuff in your life and you do activities, you'll have stuff to talk about, and you become somebody who has done different things in their life, has kept working on them, and is now successful at them. And that's the way that you can leverage it to actually provide value to people's lives. That's the key, providing value. If you think about it, most of your friendships, they come from you guys all having a common struggle or goal, right? Work is a common struggle or goal. School, a sports team, all those things, it's you guys working towards some sort of goal. And within any group like that, status comes from being valuable. You have to be good at something to be valuable to the team. And the guy with status isn't just there. He brings something to the table. He might be the best at the job. He might be the leader of the group. He might bring the energy and connect everybody together. Either way, there's some sort of value there, and that's what gives him status. And in order to actually be valuable, you have to be good at the thing, right? So here I really suggest you guys find a domain, and you get good at something, you become knowledgeable, and then you're able to share it, right? Don't hoard all of that to yourself. If you're passionate about a skill, or you're passionate about some hobby, use it as a leverage, whether it's fitness, business, or sports. Build your social circle around that, and you will gain status because you are good at the thing, right? You can be the one to include other people into the social circle, which will also help with becoming more social and meeting women. But you also might have to, reject some people, or you might have to cut off some relationships that you think are holding you back. And this isn't about dating either. Friendship, networking, opportunities, they all come from putting yourself in different environments and actually being around people and being out of your house, right? As long as you have the basic social skills and you're good at something, you will find your group. And by prioritizing those things, you don't need to spend so much mental energy on things that don't matter, like keeping your semen retention streak alive, because you'll actually have things to replace those bad habits with. And instead of worrying and being neurotic about the bad habits, you just replace them with the good habits, and then you don't even think about the bad habits. And that's the thing. This is very closely tied to your fourth strength, which is the intellectual strength. Obviously, IQ plays a role, and you can't necessarily change your genetics, but you can make your brain as sharp as possible by following the right habits, like your sleep, your nutrition, and your training. All of that will help with your with your intellectual strength. But the point isn't about IQ here. It's what actually moves the needle is that you have to use your brain power for knowledge and skill acquisition. And that's the really important part, right? You have to focus on acquiring high value skills, especially in that field that you want to dominate, right? In that domain that you want to dominate. Your success in that domain is tied to your ability to learn, but also apply what you've learned, right? I have a whole video on increasing your learning speed and retention. That was specifically for school, but it can be applied to really any domain. And the things you need are a good social environment, right? You want to surround yourself with people who are also willing to learn, or are even experts in what you want to learn, because your learning rate will skyrocket if you can absorb knowledge from people that are either experts or people that also want to further their development in this intellectual domain. The other thing that's very useful is AI and technology, right? You have things like ChatGPT and you have YouTube. You have to use these tools to help you process and organize information in a way that's tailored for you. It's literally a 24/7 tutor. Make sure you are using that, and you can gain your strength here and learn how to use those tools by first picking one skill that plays to your current strengths and is something that you are passionate about. I myself, I'm guilty, in my younger years of picking too many things. And the problem is I was always ready to consume, but I never had the time to actually apply my skills because I was just consuming so much, right? You do have to go through a huge research phase where you are reading, everything related to your domain, YouTube videos, books. You have to go through that, but then make sure you have a block that you are able to actually use this knowledge, right? When it comes to a test or school, where you're trying to develop your intellectual strength, that just means doing more mock tests, right? Putting yourself in the situation that you actually have to use your knowledge, that's what will help you retain it. And the thing is, knowledge or high IQ, it means nothing if you don't apply what you learn. The thing is being smart, that can actually be a disadvantage, because a lot of very smart people, they overthink and they hesitate instead of taking action. It's not always the smartest person who becomes the most successful. Oftentimes, it's just the person who keeps learning skills, keeps trying to develop their craft, and then they just continually apply it until it works, right? It's also about, intellectual strength is also about being a critical thinker. It means questioning a lot of the things in your life that you didn't necessarily think needed to be questioned, and not taking things at face value, right? That's what's gonna help you separate and actually have the wisdom to, not be an average person. So like here, I really think you have to ask yourself, what is the skill that you want to dominate? What tools are you going to use to learn and gain as much knowledge as you can? And then how can you apply that, right? This relates very well to your financial strength, because that skill that you are, sharpening for your intellectual strength, that can be used to monetize the skill that you have chosen by, basically finding what problem can you solve with your skill set. You can either sell it to somebody through a business form, or you can just work as an employee. But you want to maximize your earning potential. And for that, you need to learn first, you need to sharpen your product, right? You need to make your product better, which is you yourself, you are the product. But you also have to have the social skills and the social strength and the status to kind of market yourself as somebody who people would want to actually work with, right? Intellectual strength and social strength play very key roles in your financial strength. And, the main thing that actually will develop your financial strength, apart from doing the other things that I talked about, is learning, how to actually save. You have to save more money than you spend in order to have leverage for your social strength. How do you do that? You have to learn to live below your means. You have to take a period of time where you are not spending as much, and you learn how to live, very minimally. That itself is a super important trait to have. And what it allows you to do is live risk on. I have a different video on saving and how to actually invest your money. But essentially you need to learn, at least for a year period, how to live on the basics, right? You have to cut down your spending as much as possible and funnel all the rest of it into either, courses, books, education, university to, improve that one skill that you have. And then all the remaining money you need to invest into it, into tax advantage accounts. That way you can live risk on with your life. You know that you can go balls deep into, this area of your life. And if worse comes to worse, you at least have a safety net that you can fall back on. And that just lets you try over and over again. And really, you can't lose the game of, finance and money and, working with your passion if you have unlimited tries. And in order to have that feeling of living risk on, you need to have the financial strength of learning how to save and then learning how to monetize your skills. So those are the 5 strengths. I know I went over them quick. I do luckily have a lot of videos that cover each of these strengths. I just wanted to make an all-encompassing one. That way you can figure out which one you need to work on the most and, dive deeper into that. Okay, so again, I'll repeat it. There's mental strength, physical strength, social strength, intellectual strength, and financial strength. They are all very interconnected. Your goal is to find the activities that will be the highest ROI in helping you develop all of these strengths. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. And I'd also like to know what is your best strength out of these and which one do you have to work on the most.